Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Just Seen Motherfucking Podcast. You bitch. But nah. Um, Today, what I'm going to be talking about, as you've seen from the title, we're going to be talking about learning disabilities, but not in the context of what you probably think a learning disability is. We're mainly going to be talking about learning disabilities from the perspective of you really have, it's going to be an antithesis a little bit. It's in identifying your learning intelligence but believing that it's been a disability all along. The school to prison pipeline is trash, but we got to realize what the school to anything pipeline is. The school system as a whole is a system designed to make you fit into a specific box. This box is the box of logic. Hear me well. Everybody isn't logical. Everybody isn't logical. Some people know they aren't logical, but they are predicated upon learning from a perspective of the school system being structured only for logics, right? Only for logic. Here's where this becomes kind of dangerous because we're in a feminine society, right? Contrary to what people believe. I know because a lot of people going to say, no, this is a patriarchal society. This is masculinity, blah, 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 blah. No, this is a toxically feminine society specifically, but it's a toxic feminine society. And it's a toxic feminine society that is predicated solely upon logic, right? Because we got to understand what femininity is before we go further, because y'all know I got to make sure I have a definition. So I tell you exactly what I'm talking about. There's no deviation from, oh, this is the realm in which he's talking about, or I'm going to make up what I think he's talking about and respond. No. Femininity, as defined in So Frails 1, 2, and 3. Femininity is defined as the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of synthesis and construction. The world right now is being run off toxic femininity. And if femininity is the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of synthesis and construction, toxic femininity will then be destruction. So we're running a patriarchal society, true, that is predicated upon toxic femininity, which is about destruction. And as I always say, if you look at the world, look at the wars, the calamities, the famine, all of these things are destructive tactics. This is all toxic femininity. Okay. So when we look at a school system, it is built off of logic that is established to codify the toxic femininity that keeps the destruction in reality, right? Which is called patriarchy. Shout out to Sofrel. Go read that. Go read them. If we don't understand that, right, then the rest of this is what I'm going to say is not really going to make sense, because it's all dictated and predicated off of the ideation and the notion that femininity is defined as the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of synthesis and construction, but it's made toxic to create patriarchy, which is destruction. Colonialism, fucking enslavement, like all of that shit is toxic femininity. It is all designed to destroy something. We live in a world right now that is designed to destroy something. So how is the school system being predicated solely off logic? It is designed to destroy your creativity. It's designed to destroy the right side of your brain, because it's designed to force you into logic. Now, logistics, the intelligence of logics, it is an intelligent, but everybody is not predicated upon that intelligence. Now, in Sophia 3, I mentioned wasn't the rites of passage, either the rites of passage or the levels of the mind. I want to say the rites of passage. In the rites of passage, I break down the 7 intelligences. Since writing the book, let me explain this too. Since writing the book, I have found that there are now 9 intelligences. They're just adding up all willy-nilly, but the first 7 still suffice. The second 2 are more so esoteric. That's amazing that they put that in there now. It's like they're esoteric sciences, they're esoteric intelligences, right? And they're starting to add them in because, people are being woke and shit. No, people are waking up and they don't want people to wake up immediately. So they'll give you a little bit of doses of shit. It's no difference than when the pandemic hit, everybody started putting elderberry and shit because they thought, we're not going to let you wake all the way up. We're just going to make you believe you're getting elderberry when it's really elderberry flavor. Anywho, let me slow down and stay on topic. So when the school system is derived off of the principle of logic, but is derived from toxic femininity, it is to use the intelligence factor, but to become morbid with it, We become morbid in thought, and then we become robots, and we become, emotionless beings because we're not able to think and feel through the logic. Feeling and thinking go hand in hand, but when you diminish the feeling by making the femininity toxic, you're not synthesizing and constructing, you're destroying. You now create the mentality of what we have. So when we look at how the systems work, how the pharmaceutical companies can work and shit like this, all of these things based off the logic side is what dictates and gives us the ADDs, it gives us the ADHDs, it gives us the anxieties, it gives us the depressions, all this shit. All of this shit is based off of the logical intelligence, and a lot of us aren't from the intelligence of logic. But before I dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_seen_. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSeen.com to get all things that are just seen. So all those who tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of your podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. And as always, Cash App and PayPal are just fine. Okay. And that's that for this, and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into learning disabilities. Ooh, we're gonna dive into learning disabilities, the misnomers for learning intelligences. No, learning disabilities, the misnomers for the intelligences. No, that don't sound right. It'll be something like that when it's said and done, but y'all got the title by now because y'all know I do the titles afterwards. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to dive into learning disabilities, the misnomers for intelligence. And don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So For Real series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right. Welcome back. And without further ado, we're going to continue into this, and I'm going to continue on with my thoughts where I was at. So when we are observing the seven intelligence, first let's break down the seven intelligence before I get heavy into it, because I want you to understand exactly where it is that I'm coming from. The seven that I'm talking about, like I said, there's 9 now. I don't know the other 2 off the head because I haven't spent time with those other 2, because like I said, they're new. Since the time of the writing, I've discovered the new 2, and it's like, bruh, come on, man. Like, how y'all just gonna add 2 intelligences and shit? But I get it. It ain't that they just added them. They just kind of observed them and, codified them and put the name on them. But they've always been there. But like I said, most of them are esoteric. But anywho, the 7 intelligence, I like to call the my skill, MISKILL. That is music. You have interpersonal. You have spatial, you have kinetic, you have interpersonal or intrapersonal, depending on, tomato, language, and logistics. Okay. Logistics is the one intelligence that the entire school system is built on, right? I don't know what genius decided to say, hey, we're only going to learn. Well, I kind of do, because when you only focus on the logistics side, you can create mindless, emotionless beings. Zombies. You can create the very entities that just follow rules. If you notice, if you look at the structure of what a lot of people are dealing with, and what, like, most people, the biggest thing is like, yo, you got to use logic. Just use logic. Logic is always pushed, right? And I'm for it. Truly, make a logical decision. Some decisions can't be logical. In fact, most decisions you make in life are not logical. They're not. That's how the school to prison pipeline is designed to work, because we're not going to teach you how to use any other intelligence but logic. So logic is going to make you separate yourself from what you feel and not be able to use what you feel throughout the rest of your life, because most of the other intelligences are rooted in feeling. right? Which is powerful because, it has other thoughts, other things to it. This isn't to say one intelligence is any greater than the other or one intelligence has precedence over the others. What this is to say is that we all have default intelligences, right? We have default intelligences. This is not to also say that we cannot learn the other seven and be, tied to the other seven. But I'm going to show you how leveraging and having the natural default of a certain intelligence is completely undermined and labeled as an elective in the school system. But the core curriculum, the core shit that they want you to learn and want you to know and pressed about it and make sure the teachers, that's why this is a quick tangent. But when they be like, teachers are underpaid, you're not underpaid. You're not underpaid. Supply and demand, baby. Anybody can be a teacher because all you have to do is logically give them a curriculum. And if they feel about anything that you're saying, shut them down and then send them to the nurse or send them to the principal. And eventually over time, they'll be prescribed for something because they'll be disrupting behavior. You're not underpaid. You're paid for what you're supposed to be doing. You're paid for the job you're supposed to do. Your job ain't to teach. Your job is to cultivate a logical mind. Sit with that and breathe. I know, because a lot of times people be on some shit like, well, teachers are underpaid. I respect it. You made a choice to teach, which means you made a choice not to be able to do what it is that you're teaching. You feel me? And I'm all for the education system. You feel me? I'm all for, making sure the minds are strong, but you have to realize what you're doing to the mind. You're paid to do something to the mind. You're not designed to teach nobody. They call you a teacher for whatever title to make you feel good, but you're not designed to teach anybody. You're designed to structure a mind a certain way. And if you cannot structure that mind a certain way, then you now start predicating how that person will be labeled for the rest of their life. Your permanent record. That's what they call it. You feel me? You start getting rolled up. Okay, you're disruptive. You can't sit still. You talk too much. Now it creates not only the school to prison pipeline, but the school to prison pipeline is not just about the criminality and shit. It's also a pipeline to the healthcare system. It's also a pipeline, well, mainly just the healthcare system, education system. So pretty much life and death in a sense, because you're going to now be, oh, this person can't sit still. They have ADHD. Not realizing a lot of conditions are what, like, for example, when they say somebody has ADD, right? They say they have a hard time paying attention, right? They can't focus. So these niggas need Adderall or some shit like, oh, they have ADD. They can't stay focused. No, half the time the motherfucker is bored and you bore them. Why? Because logic as an intelligence is boring. A logical intelligence is only entertaining to a logical motherfucker. You feel me? I'm going to keep it 100 with you as I move forward. And this is not a horn tooting type of thing, but this is just the reality and how I'm able to understand all of this. As we finish the episode, it'll make sense. And what I'm saying won't just be a reach and it won't just be me flexing, but I have all seven intelligences well within me and I use them equally and I can use them equally. My sister, she follows suit and, studied psychology as my mama did or whatever the case may be. But one day me and her were talking and she was going over the seven intelligences at the time. This is what I'm saying. Like in the actual psychology, it was only seven. I don't know where these other two came from. But this was about 2016-ish, maybe. Yeah, about 2016, somewhere around there. In between that era, 2015, 2017, or whatever. And so my sister, she's hit me up and she's like, yo, Ray, I want to talk to you about something. I said, oh shit, what is it? You feel me? I ain't know what she was gonna talk about, but like we ain't never really had no conversation, no relationship like that where it's always some old shit. So I was being dramatic. But she was like, so I'm studying the seven intelligences, right? And I was like, right. And she said, I was trying to figure out which one you are because at first I thought it was logic. I thought it was logistic because you real sarcastic and you know what I'm saying, everything is logical with you, she said. But as I study them, I not only seen that you are logic, you have the logistics, but you also have the kinesthetic. She was like, you're good at movements, you know what I'm saying? She was like, I've never seen anybody who can, take months, almost years off and then work out and get their body back in 30 days. She was like, I never understood how you could do that. And I was like, okay. She said, but then I started studying the music side, and it's like you a monster with that shit. She said you taught yourself how to make beats and produce music, write songs and shit. And it's like She said, so I'm like, okay, maybe it's that. But then I thought about spatial, and I'm like, how the fuck? She's like, my little brother can see through anything. She said, you have the capacity to see what isn't there. And I was like, okay. So then she was like, but then when I went to the language, it was like, she said, you have the capacity to break down the phonetics, the language, like you good with words, you good with the understanding of so much shit. She was like, okay, but then she was like, but then when I looked at the interpersonal and interpersonal, you got both of those. She said, bro, do you know you got all seven intelligences? I said, yeah, I've been trying to tell y'all that since I was a kid, but y'all call me arrogant. Y'all would tell me, "Oh no, you ain't." Nigga, I know I'm him. I'm that. I know me. You feel me? But we started joking. She was like, "Yo, you really have all seven intelligences," and she was like, "That is amazing." And I said, "Yeah, I know. I'm also, um, I'm also a rational mastermind, which is if you take like a Carl Jung test, I think it's like the INFJs. I don't remember the exact letters. I know for a fact though that when I took the shit, it was like, yo, you're a rational mastermind. There's only 1 to 2% of those people. There's in a specific generation, 1 to 2% of those people, and there'll be 1 to 2% of those people in the world at a time. Now, before people start, wow, 1%, that's an anomaly. What's 1% of 7 billion? Come on. That's how many rational masterminds are in this world. Don't mystify it and think I'm just some kind of rare unicorn. I think it's a whole couple million. It's a million or so of us, 7 million to be exact. But you feel what I'm saying? Because 1% of a billion. Come on, bro. Come on. But anywho, um, I'm saying that to say this. When I'm talking about these intelligences, I'm going to be speaking from understanding and experience. I used every single one of these experience, what you call it. And this is how I'm able to understand the education system so well. So a part of it is because, like, when I look at the logical side, this is what they program everybody for: logistics, right? I think my default might have been logistics or whatever at some point. I don't know, but I've merged them all so well and I've trained them all, so I don't know what my default is anymore because I've been in this space since I was a kid. When I say kid, I mean a kid. Like, school was just so easy to me. Like, I can get it all across the board, right? But our school system, the core curriculum is designed for logic, right? Period. That's why most of the people that you feel are like the most successful people that get master's degrees, doctor degrees, PhDs, and shit like that, they're logical motherfuckers. You feel me? The logical motherfucker. It's very dangerous, especially what it does to women. You know, especially black women. Black women are the most educated. You're also the most logical. You're also the most closely assimilated to Caucasian society. Go figure. And my thing is, like, I'm always open for, you know, for providing the duality of a thing to show you the singularity of it. You got to take the good with the bad. You want the credit, you got to take the blame. I'm big on onus. For me, it's not about credit, it's not about blame. You own the whole thing. The good, the bad, ugly, and the beautiful. A lot of people don't want to do that. So when we talk about black women being there, also the most logical, and they like, black women keep wanting to say, I don't want to be in my masculine. Well, stop going to the education system. I'm not saying be stupid. I'm not saying be stupid at all, because you don't need an education system to be knowledgeable. When I dropped out of school, I got smarter because I studied more and I was free to study what I wanted to study, not what made me logical. Because when you make something logical, you remove its emotional component. When you remove the emotional component from a being, they have no capacity to connect, which means what? It kills the inner personal or the intrapersonal intelligence. They give us projects of group work and shit like that, but some people are not like, who's naturally the group work type motherfucker, the person that always ends up leading the groups. A lot of times people be thinking, I just seen this post on Instagram or Twitter, one of them motherfuckers. And what it said was, it was a crazy thing. Women be like, you can always spot who's the alpha in the group, because no, you can't. No, you can't. You can spot who stepped up to lead in this particular thing because of the interpersonal intelligence within this realm. 9 times out of 10, when women see the man who's supposedly the alpha of the group, it's because he's the ladies' man. He's the hoe. I was that motherfucker. I tell my stories and I have my fun, but this is now going to segue into the inner personal, interpersonal relationship side. I get into what the interpersonal, because that's more for the self, but the interpersonal is how well you work with others, right? But it's like that interpersonal has to be predicated upon something. So The motherfucker who can like whenever we would go out, motherfuckers want to go out with me because yo, you gonna get the hose. Yo, put me on. Put like I had so many dudes that were going out. Yo, put me on the shorty, bro. I see you fuck. Like, why you always with the girls? Cause nigga, that's what I do. This ties into the type of I was a ladies' man, developed and shit. So it made sense interpersonally. You know what I'm saying? So women be thinking, oh, he's the alpha of the group because he's the one that came and talked to. No, he's the hoe. No funny shit. I hope I think I'm telling a secret and shit, but he's the hoe. He's the motherfucker that gets the hoes. He's the confident, charismatic motherfucker. That's why it's not this why, but it's kind of segues into it. Think about a couple weeks ago, I did the episode on charm and seduction and shit. That is that is founded upon an interpersonal intelligence. People love to talk about, oh, men ain't shit. Man, a lot of men, especially the ladies' men, especially the fuck boys, these motherfuckers were interpersonally intelligent. But I just didn't know that their intelligence was something that was beyond an elective. You see what I'm saying? When the school to prison pipeline, in the school system, they only teach you to use your logic side. So you really don't know that being a ladies' man has its perks to an intelligence. So you don't know how to use it intelligently. You feel what I'm saying? This is one of the things that I always talk about when I say when I was young, I realized that I had the power to manipulate and influence. I can tell somebody to do something, they would do it. And it wasn't like a coercion or no shit like that. People really just fuck with me that much where they would do what I needed them to do. When I tell about how I started a gang, with me and my homies and shit, and then a blood came up to me and was like, bro, we need to make that official. Like I put this, like, like that's too much power. What Kanye said? No one man should have all this power. I ain't even gonna get on Ye, but no one man should have all this power. You feel me? And the power to manipulate and influence, the only delineation is integrity. You feel me? But even deeper than that, the reason why that is so potent and so powerful is because it is an interpersonal intelligence. Your ability to work well with others, to get others. Like when people look at what a leader really is, right? A leader is not somebody who's in the front. And again, when you're learning leadership from the intelligence system of being logical, you cannot be a logical leader. You cannot be a logical leader. You have to be an empathetic or emphatic leader because you have to feel. A leader, a true leader, can bring out the best in anything. It doesn't make people bend to its will. It uses its will to bring out the will of other people to make them mesh and collaborate together. An example that I like to use is when it comes to that type of intelligence, and it makes sense. Interpersonal, and then they kind of codified. I love how they did it because you didn't really know that they were doing it, but they were teaching you at the same time. The interpersonal intelligence. Charles Xavier he had the interpersonal intelligence. He was mind control, but he was definitely an interpersonal intelligence, right? And in his interpersonal intelligence, he was able to bring out the best out of mutants. How do you bring the best out of a power that you don't have? It's leadership, but it's working well with others. It's an intelligence that you can develop, that you have, that you can work well with other people, but bring out the best out of those people. But not only bring out the best of those people, kind of absorb what you bring out of those people to use. So, for example, a lot of the podcast episodes that I've had have been experience that I've had with other people, but I have drawn things out of those people and within turn drawing things out of myself. Right. This is why I'm able to give you both sides of a situation. I could talk about how, the relationship that I had, I got cheated on and everything, but I can talk about the good things that was in that relationship too. Some of the things that it led me to. You feel me? A lot of these realizations that I have about, building relationships stronger, starting off as friends, all those things were the aftermath of that relationship. Good came out of it. I may not label the good and say this was because of her, you feel me, as I'm speaking on, maybe this specific situation, but it was a totality of things. But you feel what I'm saying? That's an interpersonal relationship. That's interpersonal intelligence. When we have an interpersonal intelligence and we're trying to use it logistically, they have created a world where we don't even want to be around each other no more. So that kills that intelligence. You get bullies and you get people that are just fucked up individuals and all kind of shit. People don't want to work together because they don't know how. Oh, children need group play. No, they don't. Not all children need group play because that's what ties into, like I said, the inner personal or the intrapersonal, because you can really be by your motherfucking self. They call them introverts. Some people call them recluse. Some people call them anti. Like they literally will put a name for every intelligence that you have. They will put a name to it and make it seem like something's wrong with your ass. You feel what I'm saying? The interpersonal is usually the person who is, the interpersonal intelligence. Somebody who's interpersonal intelligence can be friends. You know what they'll call you? Fake. They can be friends with anybody. You feel me? You can fit into any pocket. They'll call you fake. Now, I'm not saying that I was ever called fake because I wasn't. Because in my interpersonal, I didn't pledge allegiance to any of the groups that I defined to. The moment you pledge allegiance to that shit, that's when you become fake because it's like you're not maneuvering and not showing why you're able to stay in this space. You feel me? Interpersonally, I'm interpersonally intelligent like a motherfucker. I can fuck with the hood. I can fuck with academia. I can fuck with woke shit. I can fuck with religious shit. I can fuck with anything on the face of this planet. I can fuck with ignorant shit. You feel me? Whatever, because I grew up in so many different pockets, and so like I learned to be interpersonally intelligent. These are things that you learn and you forget. Well, you learn them, but you don't identify them as real things because it's like, oh, these are an elective. These are electives in your school. Whatever school you go to, these are electives. So when we look at, like I said, the interpersonal, they call it interpersonal is antisocial. You're antisocial. You need to get out more. No, I don't need to get out more. So now you're taking me out of my comfort zone because I don't need to do this. When I went to college, you feel me? I'd already had my fun, you know what I'm saying, as a kid or whatever the case may be. But by the time I went to college and shit, like my mom was always encouraging me, go to parties, go do this. Like I have fun. Like, how do you know I even want to have fun like that? That's not fun to me. Being somewhere where you're completely dissolved into yourself and you can't remember shit, that's not fun. Give me my blunt and I'm good. Like, and I chill. You feel me? But what fun is to me, interpersonal, this is being able to spend time by yourself and being alone. A lot of people can't be alone because they internalize it as lonely because we have been taught that. Eventually, if you told something enough, you can convince yourself that that's what it really is. People, oh, you're by yourself. Oh, you're lonely. Oh, you're depressed. Oh, you're lonely. Oh, you're depressed. You really start believing maybe I am lonely. Maybe I am depressed. And guess what you become? Lonely and depressed when you're really not. You just have an interpersonal intelligence. Because in sitting with yourself, you know how much you can observe and you know how much you develop and learn. Now, there's not to say that there are not and people who develop into these spaces, become the hermits and shit like that through trauma. There's a difference between being forced into something through trauma and naturally having the predisposition for the intelligence, being defaulted with that intelligence. Like that's how you learn the world, by your fucking self. You feel me? When I was young, like I used to always want to hang with my big brother. We're 7 years apart. There's really not much I can do. So he would be like, nah, you can't hang with me. All right, cool. Like I never tripped. I would just be by myself. And then when I started to develop the comfort in it and I was by myself all the time, it helped me really make friends because I figured out who the fuck I was. Like I didn't. My brother, when I used to go chill with him, the days he would, like he played basketball all day. I watch basketball. I'm not that type of dude. Like how dudes they can quote the stats. Only thing I know about is the Lakers. I only know about the Kobe era. Like, and I only watch it surface level. I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to be in that motherfucker who's, I'm going to break down all of the stats. I know the conversations about LeBron, Jordan, and Kobe because everybody talks about them so much that the information just comes into me so I can give that information out. But as far as diving deep into the shit, like the stats of an Elgin Baylor or motherfucking, I know Bill Russell got 11 rings, but like the certain details, I can't go down that rabbit hole like that now because I don't like sports. I don't like, not in the sense of I'm gonna let this shit consume my life. Fuck sports, nigga. The fuck, like it's the same shit every year. You know what I'm saying? Who's better? But anyway, again, that's based off of, and the sports system is based off of stats, logic. Niggas literally use stats. Like, for example, I'd say this and then I get back on point because it ties into everything that we're talking about today. When we look at logic, right? Niggas will really say Jordan is better because of the stats. You feel me? Jordan is the better player because of the stats. You can't use that because you have to put some kind of feeling in there. You have to put something else outside of that. You feel what I'm saying? Jordan wasn't 6'8", 250 pounds. Playing like Jordan. You feel me? Jordan got 6 rings all with the same team with people on the same side as him. Like, you know what I'm saying? LeBron got 4 rings on different teams. But you forget about Kobe Bean, motherfucking Bryant, who got a three-peat with the most dominant center in the world, and they told him he couldn't do it again, and he got 2. He would have got that third one, but he started getting injuries. He would have had his own three-peat, and he would be right now undeniably the greatest player. Kobe retired 2 jerseys with equal stats. Again, when you look at just the surface of the logic of it, that's why people, let's throw the stats. Let's look at he plays these minutes, field goal percentage, all of the shit like that. Who the fuck cares? How did the games get won? You feel me? Because again, that's logic. But again, the intelligence that I was on was more so the interpersonal. When you're able to work on yourself. Kobe Bryant is a perfect example of that because they call Kobe the ball hog or whatever the case may be. But when you peel back the layers, rest his soul and shit, and you actually listen to his interviews, you pay attention to the stuff that he did. Kobe was also an interpersonal, intelligent person. That's why he was interpersonal and kinesthetic as well, but more so interpersonal. While everybody was out in the club partying and shit, what was Kobe doing? Working on his motherfucking self. They like, yo, bro, I'm thinking, I watched the Redeem Team, man. I love that shit. I'm gonna watch it again probably today after I finish recording this. But in watching the Redeem Team, they was like, yeah, I'm thinking I wanted to be the leader of the team. So I'm thinking I'm gonna get up at like 5 o'clock and go down and be the first one to breakfast. I get there, Kobe already has ice on his knees and he's sweating. Oh, nigga, you already worked out. You feel me? But then when you watch an interview with Kobe and he's telling you, yeah, when you got the people that are doing their little training sessions, say they wake up at 6. Right. And then they work out from 6 to 8. They come back, rest. They do another 2 hours. He said, you wake up at 4. You get your first training workout in. Then you get your next one in at 6. Then you get your next one. He said, you already 3 workouts in the habit. He said, but over time, it accumulates. And when he says something so profound that it is tied to an interpersonal or an intrapersonal intelligence, he said, over time, the gap will be so wide they can't catch up if they tried. Kobe had literally put himself into such a bracket that you couldn't catch up to him. And when you seen him play, you really couldn't catch up to him. It was a whole different game. You feel what I'm saying? But Kobe's mentality has been like that since he was a kid. And then, like I said, he retired 2 jerseys. So stats are from the logical side, but sometimes it's a deeper, intelligent part that you have to look at that you can't see. So when we look at interpersonal, it's like people who are able to sit by themselves but observe able to observe the world better by understanding themselves. You feel me? Again, that is an intelligence that I have as well. It's like one of the reasons why a lot of this podcast is predicated upon my experience and not what I've seen other motherfuckers do is because I can't explain what another motherfucker did. I can't give you the insight to what it is if I explain what somebody else did. You ever paid attention to that? I give you the story or my experience, but I can give you the lesson in that. And I give you the lesson from the level of understanding, not the level of belief. See, when you watching somebody else shit, you can only explain what you believe they did. You don't understand what they actually did. You're explaining what you believed or perceived them to do. I can't teach y'all nothing about with what I perceive. That's how religion be working. Religion is also codified off of the logistic intelligence, which is very fucked up because nobody dives into the religion. Logistically, you don't have the feeling within it. So logistically, you only study the surface and you repeat and regurgitate. That's how the education system works. How well can you repeat and regurgitate? Not what the fuck you know, but it's based off of how you can repeat and regurgitate the information rather than truly understanding it. Because a lot of shit, there's so many people who have questioned religion and people, well, oh, you're questioning God. Not at all. I don't question this book. Like, I want to know why, how come this being only spoke to a certain hand of people X amount of thousands of years ago, but it can't speak to me directly now and tell me the same shit that like there's no updated information for what we going through now. But again, that logic, the interpersonal or the intrapersonal intelligence is largely what's affected by religion, but you need logic to mask it. So they use logic. So you ask somebody about a specific piece of religion, they really will not tell you. They just quote something. You feel me? I just seen this post. If you're religious, you might want to skip ahead like about 2 minutes, maybe 5, for what I'm about to say, starting right now. So I just seen this post where a guy was asking, is the devil against God, with God, or for God? No. Is he for God, with God, or against God? And it was like, And, logically, everybody would say, well, devil is God's enemy. But there's specific instances where he's for him, specific instances when he's with him, and the specific instances when he's against him, all in the same book. So it's like, which one is it? And me, that's all three. Because when you truly understand the book, in the book, Isaiah 54:16-17, it says, for I create the destroyer to work havoc in your life, but he can only do what I allow. And then it goes into 17. No weapon forged against you shall prosper. People love to quote, no weapon forged against you shall prosper, but they don't understand the full context. And that's just the one verse ahead of it. Niggas really will not read the one verse ahead of it to make the whole thing make sense. So again, like I said, it's all three. But now, if you ask somebody, is God for the devil, for God, with God, or against God, they're immediately going to say against God because they've been programmed and taught that logically, good and evil. This is conditional. God picks what he wants the devil to do. You feel me? Read in Isaiah 54:16-17, and then go look at the story of Job. That was a bet, my nigga. You feel me? That was a bet. But again, when you have to use your logic and your interpersonal, now, so that's why it affects your interpersonal, because it affects your spirit, your willpower, everything. But your logic side has to justify some shit that you can't quantify. Same shit with the education system. Same shit with the motherfucking education system. You feel me? The education system doesn't teach you to know shit. It teaches you to believe and trust in the motherfucker who's programming your mind, which is the teacher. Again, logistics side. They encourage the logistic intelligence. Now, if you ever question this teacher and you say, I don't think this logically makes sense, get out of my classroom. You're disrespecting me. It's a system. It's designed to work. We're going to program you to believe and only stay at the state of belief, which means you have to trust everything we say, whether we're right or wrong. Trust it. If you don't trust it, you'll be punished. You'll be punished. You feel me? I got rolled up one time as a kid because I challenged the teacher and I told her she was wrong. You feel me? Oh, you trying to say I'm wrong? You are. Now let's figure out why let's not, you got 25 minds in your hand. You got 25 minds in your hand and you're mad that a child called you wrong and wanted you to validate the situation. What was wrong with that? Nothing at all was wrong with it except the fact that you're not supposed to know this shit. You're supposed to trust and believe it. No, because then when I get 10, 20 years down the line and then it finally registered, I'm like, this literally can set the tone. It's a butterfly effect. You feel me? You don't know what one bit of information falsely being given to you can do for the rest of your life. Imagine 400 years. Never mind. Not that. Not that. Not that. But anywho, so when we talk about the logistic side of the intelligences and shit, that's the only one we focus on. So when we go to school, you know how many motherfuckers feel stupid? Because they're not they're not logical people. You feel me? I know a woman, she was in high school. She was bad as fuck. Not bad as like physically attractive. She was cute too, don't get me wrong. But she was bad in the sense like she was a fighter, but she would knock motherfuckers out. You feel me? She was hey, you say something slick, pat, 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 she'll beat you the fuck up. And you'll be like, yo, she fight like a dude or whatever. But you know what? She was also a cheerleader. She was a dancer. Flawless dancer. You feel me? She could move, like she was kinesthetically intelligent. Everything that she tried to do. So it's like she performed well in dance class. She performed well, you know what I'm saying? And when she she didn't have any outlet other than to physically fight, because she thought from the logistics side, I don't get it. School don't make no sense to me. It's like, oh, she thought she was stupid. The grades that she got were reflective of her believing and perceiving that she was not smart because she was not logical. She wasn't a logical person. And again, we have to stop making not being logical a bad thing. That's just not your default intelligence. It's okay. It's okay. You can become logical, but they're trying to make it like you're not using logic. I am using logic. That's just not my default intelligence, motherfucker. I'm an interpersonal motherfucker, or I'm a kinesthetic motherfucker, or I'm a musically inclined motherfucker, bro. Like, fuck you. That don't need logic. I'm gonna break that shit down a little bit more as we get deeper into it. But she was kinesthetic. When she made and her grades was like basically just passing grades a lot of times. But she was like, you know what? I want to be a cheerleader. When she made the cheerleading team, her grades changed because there was an incentive to stay on a cheerleader to continue being kinesthetically intelligent. That was her default intelligence. She now had an incentive to stay in it. Our incentives are electives. You feel me? Electives. You feel me? Every other intelligence is an elective, but the logistic intelligence is the core curriculum. Makes no fucking sense. A lot of motherfuckers are not logistically intelligent. And again, do not look at it from a perspective of being stupid. It means that that's not your default intelligence. We have a lot to reprogram here. A lot. The fact that I'm saying you're not logical makes a motherfucker automatically internalize, yo, I'm stupid. No, that's just not your default intelligence. What your default intelligence is not what the school system caters to. Not on a core level. You feel what I'm saying? Not on a core level. So when she started to cheer, she stopped fighting because now she's channeling her kinesthetic intelligence a different way. When I say she's a fighter, she's a fucking fighter. Like you would think she was a boxer. Like, how are you so good at jabbing? How do you know how to stick and move and do shit like that? I don't know, nigga. It's just a fight, bro. You put your hands up, ping, ping, ping. And she would put her hands up, ping, 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 and beat motherfuckers up. Like beat motherfuckers up. She won't the type of a woman who would pull hair and nah, she nigga, yo, she'd catch you with a mean two-piece step back slide, bing, bing, whoop, whoop. You like, yo, and she never boxed. Never boxed, never had formal training, but she was kinesthetically intelligent. These are your natural born athletes. So I get it. Oh, what you always talk about, they only encourage the logistics side. Yeah, they put a cap on it. You can only play sports if you maintain a C average. You still have to be lost into this logistic side. You feel what I'm saying? But you're supposed to use your default intelligence to understand the rest. So anywho, so once she became the cheerleader, her grades changed. And motherfuckers was shocked, like, yo, you just, and then she's like, nah, I just can't, I got something to work for now. I have something that the incentive is I get to maintain my kinesthetic intelligence if I keep my grades up. So I keep my grades up because I like being kinesthetically intelligent. You feel me? She can dance like a motherfucker. Like, she used to do ballet. And I used to hate this shit, but I can't forget it. Whenever she would do a certain task, she would like tendu, pas de bourre, jete. And she would do the full moves. Like I know how to do that move because I seen her do it so much and I seen her repeat it so much. It's like the fuck is tendu, pas de bourre, jete, and it's like those are dance moves in ballet. But her body was she was so kinesthetically intelligent that she knew how to perfect the exact movement to extend your legs this way, boom, 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 rather than just seeing it. Like a motherfucker like me, I didn't have the intelligence factor at the time to look at it and say, okay, you have to put this with your body and move it a certain way. Like, you feel what I'm saying? There's little shit like that that ties into it. But again, when we look at the logic side, everything that they build off is like you have to ultimately be the logistic person. You feel me? All this other shit is, conditional based off of that. Nah, it should be, you feel me? When you look at Hogwarts, I know this is, oh, you talking about Harry Potter, that's imaginary. They have a sorting hat. You're going to either go to what? Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, or what's the fourth one? Nobody ever really knows the fourth one. You got to be a real diehard fan to know the fourth one. Because it's Gryffindor, because Harry was in that. Slytherin, because that's who he's beefing with. Hufflepuff, because that was just a random one. And then there's another random one. Ravenclaw. It was Ravenclaw because I remember it was a bird on the shit, I think. Yeah. So those are the sorting houses, right? Those are the places where you want. All I was doing was showing you that everybody's different. The sorting hat was like, people looked at the sorting hat as like, okay, he's telling them where to go. No, he's saying what they belong to. The sorting hat did not tell you where to go. It showed you what you belong to. And then when you look at it, why do you think everybody in Gryffindor, they merged well with each other? You feel what I'm saying? Everybody in Slytherin, they had the same kind of person because they had the same intelligence. And it's like, we know the type of motherfuckers y'all are, so this is how we got to teach y'all. And then we're going to give y'all the teachers that are like Professor Snape. This nigga was Slytherin through and through. This nigga was like, you feel me? It was the same shit because now we can give you the teacher who is mastered of this intelligence to teach you the intelligence, nigga. That's why those who can do, those who can't teach. Based off of the Harry Potter story, all of those teachers could do what they taught. I'm gonna say it again. All of those people can do what they taught. Look at the education system right now. How many teachers can do what they're teaching? Not many, because what they're gonna do is those who can't, like, the it sucks, but this is gonna sound like I'm taking a shot. The worse you're at, the worse they are at it, the lower the level they teach. Oh, I want to teach elementary schools so I can be around kids. Nah, because you don't want to do calculus. Nah, because you don't want to conjugate verbs and nouns and shit. You feel me? You just want to put baking soda and vinegar in a balloon and blow it up. You feel me? You don't want to break down how carbon dioxide can change one thing's color stuff. You don't want to do that part. You don't want to do that part. But it's levels. It's fucking levels. Those who can do, those who can't teach. But anywho, the intelligences that we have, we're supposed to receive the intelligence from that person with the intelligence. You know how many logical motherfuckers aren't teaching logistics? But you, the motherfuckers, are talking about we deserve to be paid more. You're not even a logical motherfucker, and you teaching a whole logistically intelligent curriculum to kids that are not. Let's just base it off of, let's say there's an equal number of every one of these in the world, right? There's 7 intelligences, right? 7 intelligences. So you're gonna that means that there's literally 1 billion people for each intelligence. You mean to tell me you can't find nobody within that intelligence to teach that intelligence? So so when we come to the people who's like, yo, that was a good teacher. They were a good teacher because those good teachers were the logistically intelligent teacher, or the teacher who was able to cater to the specific student the way they need to be catered to. You ever wonder why there's a discrepancy within classes? You got 30 motherfuckers in a class and there's 7 intelligences. You got some motherfuckers that are logical, some motherfuckers that are interspatial, some motherfuckers that are musical. You feel what I'm saying? What do you do with that? And you box them in and you teach them all the same fucking way? No, because now you have that spatial motherfucker who sees deeply beyond the logics of shit. This is why I talk about masculinity and femininity being a spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis, deconstruction, and synthesis and construction, respectively. Masculinity is largely tied to a spatial intelligence. You see the principle. A lot of times, those students who kept asking why, they were spatial intelligent students. They were the students who led with the spatially intelligent, but you asked too many questions because you didn't go deep enough for me to understand this. I'm going to keep asking why. I'm going to keep prying why. I'm going to keep trying to understand why the fuck are you saying it like this? I don't get it. And as a teacher, we got to move on because I have to admit that I can't teach a spatial person. I have to assume that the logic, their logic should kick in. Like, what do you mean? Logic should kick in, should be this. And it's like, well, where did you go with that? The spatial person can dive deeper into something. And they need to dive deeper into something to get it. I've had so many people tell me shit like, you feel me? And this isn't a shot at those people because I understand them. Like, understanding gets you a long way in life. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't be tripping on motherfuckers who say, I'm like, nah, you just believe I understand. It's okay. You know, it's different. I'm like, yo, everything ain't got to be that deep. For you, because you don't know how to spatially use your intelligence. Like, you don't know how to use the spatial intelligence the way that I do. So some shit it just happens to go down rabbit holes. It just happens to go down deep shit. A lot of the podcast is spatial intelligence. If you haven't noticed yet, like, I could take you to places that, you know what I'm saying, you never thought about one single concept. I do it all the time on social media too. Like, that's what keeps my audience alive. The fact that I'm a spatially intelligent, that I can use my spatial intelligence, because I will start off with one particular topic that everybody's cliche thinking about, and they be like, I never thought about it like that. It is not that you never thought about it like that. You just never were able to go that deep because of the intelligence structure that you're built on. So speaking of this social media side and spatial, like, look at what all of the podcast scopes, all of this shit is about. It's about logic. When niggas get frustrated with you on the intelligence, they'll say, it's just logic. It's not logic. You're trying to logistically teach it. Certain shit ain't logistically taught. That's why you see a lot of the people, as far as like the conscious community and things like that, they only can teach logical shit. They can't teach esoteric shit. They try to, but they try to give it to you from a logical perspective. I respect all of the people who would tell me shit like they would say, I understand like what you're saying, but I can't share it with nobody because they're not gonna get it. How you know? How you know? Because you're basing it off the fact that have to admit that you really don't like, you trust what I'm saying, but you don't really understand what I'm saying because you don't know how deep it can really go. But the way in which I articulate it, I break down every level that I know that I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? I'm not giving you logic. I'm giving you whatever intelligence is necessary for me to explain this shit to you. And I'm showing you how to understand it from that intelligence at the same time. I don't think, you feel me? I'm gonna toot my horn on this. I don't think a lot of motherfuckers give me credit for the way I break shit down. Because a lot of motherfuckers don't really know where I'm coming from when I break shit down. You feel me? I'm literally using whatever intelligence is necessary for me to convey this message. You feel me? And I'm able to convey the message well because I understand the intelligence necessary to make this a reality, right? So the way social media works, like I was talking about with the conscious community, a lot of these people, this is why a lot of them focus on history and history alone. History is logic. It is or it ain't. Like you can't change history. You can rewrite it and you can structure it in a way in which it benefits your story, but you can't change it. Once it's written, it's like, okay, people will call it facts. This is why you always hear me say, you need to be an antithetical scholar. Study the antithesis. I don't give a fuck how uncomfortable it is. You feel what I'm saying? Go into the other side of that shit because that's a part of the logistic intelligence. You don't believe nothing nobody says. You have to be logical. You have to have the other side. So when we look at a lot of people that are teaching, it's like when they reach that point where they don't have the other side or they want you to just accept it logically, you may not be a logical thinker. Your intelligence may not come from logic. Your intelligence comes from spatial shit. So you start asking questions. I wonder, how does it this? Like, I'm all for that. When I say something, the motherfucker like, yo, saying, what about this side to it? And then I start breaking that shit down and we start going deeper into it. It's like, oh, I vowed to myself. And the reason why I'm able to do this is because I vowed to myself to never leave someone the way that I was left as a child. This is no shot towards anybody that I grew up with, anybody that ever asked a question to, no teacher, not my parent, nobody, my siblings, nobody. But when I asked why, they couldn't answer. I made a vow to myself to never be in a space where I could not provide an answer or I could not help you get to that answer. All you keep hearing is get into the markets. But do you trade or do you invest? Should you do stocks, Forex, crypto, or NFTs? My personal answer is not a single one if you don't know how to read a chart. Without knowing how to read a chart, you end up giving all your money to those who do. Do you know what a candle is? Do you know the pocket of activity? Do you know the difference between market direction and market control? If you answer no at least once, you might want to learn how to read a chart first. Learning how to read a chart will let you know if you should trade or invest and if you should do stocks, Forex, crypto, and or NFTs. It will also let you know if this is even for you or not. So visit IamJustSeen.com to learn how to read charts with my Mastering the Market course, ebooks, and webinars today. The world is changing. The question is, will you adapt with it? You feel what I'm saying? I made a vow to myself because not being able to hear to know why something happens, but then at the same time knowing how to go and find that answer, those two things go hand in hand. They help with the spatial intelligence anyway. But let me get back on point. So when we're looking spatially, we able to dive deep into it and see beyond shit. Like motherfuckers love chess. They don't know how to play it though. They'll tell y'all, they go, yo, this chess not checkers. Do you know how to play chess? Guru, young Guru, um, Jay-Z's engineer and shit. Young Guru said, chess, chess is not a game of life. Contrary to what people say, it's a game of strategy. Because realistically, the shit don't work the way you think it's gonna work. And he said something very, very powerful. He said, it was powerful, but it was spatial in thought. And I'm gonna tell you how it's spatial because when you look at chess, everybody's like, yeah, chess, they base chess off of the fact that it's a more strategic game. They don't really know the fundamentals of chess. They don't even know the basics of why you're playing chess in the first place. It's strategy, but you can't use chess to necessarily play strategy because life doesn't work in strategy. What you think is a pawn, you can tell it to move, and is it gonna move? No, you can do it in chess, but can you do it in real life? Who do you view as a pawn? Who do you view? Like I've heard people say, yeah, I play chess with life. Like everything's a chess piece. No, it can't be, because everything doesn't follow the rules, which is a real thing. There's a spatial component to chess that people don't pay attention to. That's why a lot of people say, oh, this is chess, not checkers, but they still playing checkers. So tell me why it's not chess. I mean, why it's not checkers and it's chess? Well, because the queen got motherfuckers let her. You can't do shit without your queen. The queen got to move. Understand, the queen is not necessarily the piece. We look at it from a surface level. The queen does not necessarily denote the woman. I know it's hard, but it says the queen. King saying it's just like the king doesn't necessarily denote a man. The two royal pieces denote liberation, liberal movements, and orchestrated movements, and confined movements. The king can only move one space at a time. The queen can move wherever the fuck she wants to move, and it's not because she's a woman. It means that when you're spatially understanding chess, you're spatially understanding that this whole component is okay. When I move, I have to move in orchestrated ways, right? I have to move in orchestrated ways. The thing about chess is a strategic game of the self, not anybody else. Because nobody else can be a piece on your board. Only you're the pieces of the board. You are your own pawns. You are your own rooks, your knights, your bishops, and everything like that. You have to understand spatially what these mean. Yeah, they tell you, oh, they played these games before they went to war. How? Because you don't know what your enemy is thinking. Unless you send spies over there to infiltrate and see how the lays of the land are doing. Then you can play the chess game. It says, how do they move here? So when we look at the messengers, the people that went over the spies, and if the spies left and came back, you play chess with the king. Or you play chess with the military tactician or whatever the case may be. Says, I need you to play me how they think. You lived over there 5-10 years, come back, and now you need to live over there without being converted into their ideology when you come back here. Now I need you to play me in chess how they play. So now I know how this community works. That's how you play chess. How this community works, which is my opposition in regards to me as a totality. How I can move liberally, how I can move conservatively, how I can move which ways, how I can move straight back. All of these things are how I need to move. Now I need to position my whole kingdom and community to move this way, to attack or retreat from this particular person. It's the art of war. You feel me? But you have to spatially see shit like that. You feel me? You have to spatially see shit like that. When you logistically see shit, which is the logical intelligence, that's why you get men, the queen ain't nothing. Man ain't nothing with a queen. Yeah, man ain't nothing without a woman, but a woman ain't nothing without a man. You feel me? It's different. It's so when we talk about the it's chess not checkers reality, you have to understand the depths of what chess is. It's a spatial game. You have to have the spatial intelligence to play it. And your spatial intelligence has to be so deep that you have to be that intertwined in it to win it. The Bobby Fishers and shit like that, the motherfuckers that can make the move and hit the shit. Like they see that game so many different ways, so deeply. You feel me? I think it's called a King's Gambit or some shit like that. There's a specific move that motherfuckers will not use in the game of chess because it's like, yo, you can't win with that. Like there's shit that they're like, yo, I don't even like this piece. When they look at how one piece moves, you have to spatially think in order to see 5 moves ahead. If I move this piece, what can be affected across the board? That's what it's supposed to teach you. That is a spatial intelligence. But it's not just chess that does this. Life can do this to you too. Spatial intelligence helps you see beyond. You feel what I'm saying? But you don't learn spatially when you're in a school system. The logic doesn't work because now you're disrupting class. You're slowing class down because you're trying to understand. You're asking this question. You stuck because you don't understand the surface level, because the surface level is not enough to get you down to, is not enough to catalyze you down into the spatial area. That's why you can't get it. That's why you didn't get it, because you may be a spatial learner. And they're forcing logic on you, forcing you to be forcing you to be logical. So you can't. And it's like, I don't know how to operate with that intelligence of just being logical. What do I do? What do I do? You feel me? But again, they take our intelligences and make them spatial and make them electives. And sometimes those electives aren't even offered in school. You feel me? So where are you gonna get this intelligence from? Where are you gonna get the practice with this intelligence? You feel me? Outside. Most of the street dudes that, you know, because they couldn't function, a lot of street dudes couldn't function in a logistic side, the logistic intelligence, but they were able to exhibit all the other six. But because school just wasn't for them, they never brought the seventh one into the streets with them. Niggas be interpersonal, interpersonal, spatial, kinesthetic, and operate from a language perspective. I'm gonna break down language and music next, but they can operate from those perspectives at will. Like there, the language intelligence is one of my favorites. If you didn't know, language is a beautiful fucking thing. I love that intelligence. It's deeper than just the words. Like I know I talk about words and etymology a lot, but for me, I'm big on language. Like I love language because language is how we communicate. For the most part, language is how we communicate. And the streets have a language. A lot of people say, "Oh, you ain't got no book smarts. You ain't got like," and I think a lot of people don't realize what it means to be smart, to have certain smarts like book smart, street smarts. A lot of people tie it to experience. But before you can gain experience, you have to have the language of it. You have to have the language of it. You feel me? A lot of people don't think I'm hood because I don't speak as a hood dude. Like, you feel me? Like, this is no shot towards, hood people. Cause I used to speak like this, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause not only did I used to speak, like I could thoroughly understand it. Like, remember when they was running that joke about Offset when they were like, who got left up bad and bougie? And they nigga, you knew what the fuck he said. Don't act like you didn't. How the fuck do you know his whole lyrics, but you don't think like you don't know what he says? Like, who left up bad and bougie? You're like, he said what? You know what he said. People try to act like, but you know what he said and you know what words he spoke. However, it wasn't quote unquote articulated, or it wasn't quote articulate, as they say, because he didn't say the whole word. Man, we know how our culture works. You feel what I'm saying? But again, that comes from a language. The school system makes us learn a language that we don't speak, because language is also derived out of culture. The intelligence of language also means that not only do you learn the words and the lexicons, you also learn the cultures, the mannerisms, and the behaviors that all communicate. Body language is a form of communication. Facial expression is a form of communication. As Black folks, sometimes we could say shit without even having to open our mouths. Our face can tell it all. That's our part of our culture. That's a part of a language of our culture. You dig what I'm saying? We code switch well. We have what's called ebonics. I hate that y'all have let these motherfuckers change it to African American vernacular English. No, bitch. I don't give a fuck. It's ebonics, my nigga. It's fucking ebonics. But I remember watching Class Act. Class Act was the perfect example of this shit, yo. What I'm about to say. When they were sitting on a roof and he was trying to teach him how to be Blade Brown, and he was like, Duncan Penderhughes was logical. He was top of the class. He was well versed in the logistic side of the intelligence. He just so happened to be a logistically intelligent person, which made him a nerd, which made him that. Like a lot of the people that are nerds were just the people that were logistically intelligent. So they fit within a logistic lifestyle. So it was like, oh, you're just so this. No, nigga, I don't, the fuck. You feel me? I'm a logistic person. But Blade Brown had to introduce language to him. So when Blade is trying to teach him how to be him, you feel me? He's like, I remember on the rooftop, he was like, so Blade Brown he said, so you're deaf? He said, I'm the deafest brother on the block. You feel me? He was like, okay, Doggy Turns. Blade Brown is the biggest asshole I've ever met in my life. Then he smacked him and said, yo, you gonna keep disrespecting him? He said, I thought you were deaf. He was like, yo. So he was like, so then he asked him, he said, so if you take the transitive verb and you replace it with be, and he started breaking it down logically. And he asked Blake, so he said, so if I were to take a trip, would I be flying on, he said, would I be fly on a plane? He said, depends on what you're wearing. He was like, what? That doesn't make sense. It makes a lot of sense because it's the language of a culture. The language intelligence is deeper than just understanding the words. It's the context, it's the energy, it's everything that ties into that language. You see what I'm saying? When I speak on understanding the languages of things, and this is how, like, when I break down shit like religion, and I say, okay, I had to go back 2,000 years. I had to go across 4 different languages to get to this point. How you think if you read So Frail 3, In the chapter on noirphobia, when I break down Messiah, psh, boy, I broke that shit down raw because it is about language, the intelligence of language. Like, I can show and prove everything that I say that I do, that I talk about with y'all. So I'm well versed in the language of intelligence. So example, today's time, if we look at a Messiah, we break it as a savior. But when you go back across the languages to the culture in which the word Messiah was created, it means anointed, right? And it also denoted a level of consciousness, the highest form of consciousness, which is Christ consciousness. Messiah is never a savior or a being. It is an ascension of yourself. Bow. So now, when the language is completely gone, so when we look at what they did to us as slavery, oh, they took our language from us. It was deeper than just controlling what we were able to say. Your language is an intelligence. Because now when we talk about how the Hebrew people, like they were magicians, the Hebrew language is a magical language. If you study the 22 letters of the alphabet, 22 paths of the tree of life, Yahed, Vahed, Yahweh, there's reasons why this language has to be tainted. But you feel what I'm saying? When it comes to the language intelligence, a lot of us have that default intelligence, and we can hear and we can see and we can observe things that just ain't there. You can know when a motherfucker sneak dissing you. You can know when a motherfucker is speaking, or like you can tell by some people don't have that intelligence. You ever been in a situation where you start, like, one thing that I'm big on is because I have this language like really down. I know when women are uncomfortable. I know when women are comfortable. I know when women are like feeling me when they nod. It's like I can tell. Like I don't have to. You dig what I'm saying? I don't have to guess because I speak the language. Not because I was a hoe or a ladies' man, because I have the language of the intelligence of language, the the lingual intelligence. I can speak body languages. I can speak I know what someone is saying. You feel me? I remember I was in Philly one time, and it was when I had first started working valet, and I was, getting my shit out the mud. Like I was making $7.15 an hour working tips. And this particular night, I didn't make enough tips. I never forget this night because this is a motivating moment for me in my life. I didn't make enough tips to take the token to get a bus token to go home. So I had to walk home from work. Now, luckily, I only lived like, let me see. I think I lived at like the 1500 block or the 1600 block, or maybe, and I worked on the 1500 block or something like that. Either way, I ended up walking home from work, and it was about a 20-minute walk. And it's nighttime. I had got off at night. I had worked the 3 to 10 shift. It's nighttime, bro. I couldn't even get the token to get home and shit. So I had to walk. But as I'm walking behind this black woman. And I walk fast naturally. I got longer legs and shit, but I just naturally walk fast because I have a sense of urgency. I've always had a sense of urgency about myself. But as I see this black woman, she doesn't have to turn around. She doesn't have to say shit. Like I have maybe it's one of my clairs because I am clear all that shit. But instantly I was like, slow down. Like I communicated it. Like maybe it was the clear sentience or the clear audience, and I heard her say this, like, whatever. But it's like something in me kicked in and said, slow down. Stop walking so fast. And then when I looked up, I seen her and I slowed down. Right. And I kind of distanced myself from her because I can feel that she was afraid. Was I gonna do anything to her? Fuck no. Was I even paying attention to her? No. It's 10:30 at night. I gotta make sure that my tips don't get taken from me. So I gotta make sure that I'm looking, with my mean mug on, like I'm looking like I'm gonna rob me a motherfucker. I got on all black. You feel me? Make sure a nigga don't run up on me and take what I got. You feel me? So I'm not even thinking about her, but I'm considering her because because my language intelligence is that strong. I can feel it. You reach a point where your language intelligence, you can feel the shit in the room. And nigga, you know the elephant in the room. What elephant? Niggas be like, what? No, it's the uneasy feeling that we feel lingering. The conversation that when you have in between somebody, when you notice awkward and y'all know y'all forcing it, you can feel that. That is a part of the language intelligence. And you try to push through it. Address it. Say something about it. Because again, language is deeper than just the words. The words are just the surface of it. The words get you to everything else. Right? So when we're in that space where we're going to, now mind you, there's people who are attuned and tuned in to the language intelligence, and they'll go to a place where they'll go to a school system, whatever. They're like, yo, the teacher don't like me. What did the parents say? You're not there to be like, I can't learn if I'm not liked. So now, not only am I being forced into a logistic intelligence, now I'm being forced into a logistic intelligence that I don't have by someone who doesn't like me. And I can feel that because I have the language intelligence live and well. And I can feel that you don't like me. I can feel that you're targeting me. I can feel what you're doing. I can understand. I understand what language you're speaking with me right now. See, people don't understand like language derives from culture. So this is why white people don't understand that they're still racist. I don't own slaves. I don't call black people niggers. You speak the language, nigga. The language is the expression of the culture. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of us can't even learn. Another reason why a lot of us can't learn in the school system is because the language in which the logistics is presented doesn't fit our narrative. You feel me? Should be cultural based, bro. It be designed for you. Like, why you think they trying to rewrite the history books and try to act like slavery didn't happen? Because according to their culture, this is the language that they want to be spoken. I don't want you to see us as bad people. This is why now I can talk about the Kanye shit. This is why everybody's so tight about Kanye. Because he's speaking a different language. Yes, he's speaking English and he's saying the words of the English language and the English lexicon, but he's speaking a different language, a language that goes against the language you're designed to hear. So now everybody, Kanye crazy, Kanye wildin', Kanye don't know what the fuck he talking about. Here we go, he's off the deep end. No, he's speaking the language that goes against the language that programs you. This is why you can hear what he's saying and you can understand fluidly what he's saying, but you can't get it because it's a different part of the culture. I don't know what interview niggas was watching. To be honest with you, one was like, yo, yeah, he said some stupid shit. Like how? Like, what did you catch that he said? Because I caught when he was talking about his Jewish people saying, hey, you should go to the Jewish museum. It's a part of the language and the culture. You feel me? What he said, you should go to our museums, our Holocaust museums, Planned Parenthood. Oh, yeah, you tripping. That's not tripping. Because if you go study if you go look at the statistics logistically, because that's what y'all like to do. I'm gonna talk about statistics in a second. But if you go look at the statistics, it shows that look this up, the number one killer of black people in America is abortion. Not the police, not drugs, not heart disease, not cancer, abortion. Abortion. A fucking abortion, bro. That is the number one killer of black people in America. Now, I get it. You have those moments where you have ectopic births or shit like that you have to get it aborted because it's not going to live anyway. But the choice to just go do it because you didn't want to use a condom. Because you didn't want to use a fucking condom. That's different. That's a whole different level of genocide. But again, tying it back to Ye shit, that was something else that he said. Another thing that he said was like, he was talking about Rick Rubin, the 808 and the chakras. Nigga. And he talking about, yeah, over the 808, you hear, I'm gonna fuck your bitch, I'm gonna kill this nigga. I'm gonna fuck your bitch, I'm gonna kill this nigga. And then he said something very, very powerful in that shit. He said, y'all have to kill me before I let you take my people. Do I agree with the religious side of the shit that he say? I don't give a fuck about none of that shit because the language that he's speaking is different. It's about liberation. Everybody talks about, because this is why I hate history, because history is logistic. It gives you specific stats, but it doesn't give you the language of what was happening. You see what I'm saying? So when we talk about Harriet Tubman and shit, oh, hey, what the fuck do you think Harriet Tubman was saying to people? Now, we look at the reality. Oh, she had to shoot her husband because he was going to go and tell. Why? Why? What language was she speaking? She was speaking the language of freedom. It sounds good now, but did it sound good back then? Fuck no. That's why her husband went to go tell. That's why she had to shoot that nigga. She had to put him down. Because you're not speaking the language of freedom, my man. You're not speaking the language of freedom. You still gonna speak the language of slavery. We still got motherfuckers right now that can't speak the language. That's why hearing Kanye is different. All you hear is crazy. All you hear is crazy. These are anti-Semitic remarks. He's not saying anything anti-Semitic. How is it anti-Semitic to say I'm jealous of Jewish people? So again, did y'all hear the fucking interview? Or did y'all just get mad because you were told to get mad off the clips that you heard? All because he spoke on George Floyd. That George Floyd shit was only 2 minutes in the entire 3-hour interview. They dropped that clip to shut the whole shit down because they know, oh shit, he did have fentanyl in the system. The fuck? But then it's gonna start to make you think, wow, did the cop really kill him or did they use that to disrupt everybody else? Because I get it. It was fucked up. Was his knee on his knee wasn't really on his neck like that. I get Kanye saying that shit. And I got a different attachment. George Floyd is my family. Not for clout, not for other shit. George Floyd is really my cousin. The family that you see representing him, that comes out, that were on the they're my cousins. Like my legit cousins. We go to family reunions and we see each other. They're my family. You feel what I'm saying? But with the intelligence, another form of the intelligence that I'm able to see, he did have fentanyl in his system. So the knee on his neck allowed the fentanyl to work better. He did kill him. He did I'm not taking that shit away, but I understand what Ye was saying. He was adding and contributing more to it. And it was also a part of the language. What language are we designed to respond to? What intelligent language are we designed to respond to? You feel what I'm saying? So when anybody speaks differently against the shit, it's for how is our culture so deep, so demonic, and so deadly, and so dangerous, and so we have to kill, 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 because that is the language that we're taught to speak about black people, and we assimilate it into the culture. The logistic side of this intelligence system makes you hate yourself. So now when we go up in academia, following the same logistic intelligence, we start to hate ourselves, and we start to not even care no more that we're dying. Because now we speak the language of the oppressor. That's why I be getting motherfuckers like, yo, you gotta, infiltrate, educate, and vacate. A lot of motherfuckers can't get to the vacate part because they get stuck because they start speaking the language too well. They start speaking the motherfucking language too well, or they're bound to it because they have certain debts, they have certain obligations that they got to quote unquote pay back and all this shit. There's certain things that won't let you allow yourself to walk away once you learn the language, but then you start speaking it a lot more fluently. You start to speak it a lot more fluently. You feel what I'm saying? I was talking to my bro Pat a while back, and I was saying, look, the English language, we fluently speak a language that we don't understand. Because we're not intelligently woven to the language of logistics, right? So we don't see it as an intelligence. So, to language. So because we're not developing the intelligence with it, when we hear the language, we don't know what we're hearing. So the Jewish Zionists, whatever the case may be, they run this shit. But when you start saying, it makes you wonder, when they start saying you're the real Jews, that's where the problem comes in. When black people say, yo, we're the real Jews. That's really why his shit got shut down. Same with Nick Cannon. They don't be saying shit wrong, but they be saying shit wrong because the language doesn't support that black people are the Jews. Because in order for it, like I always tell y'all, there's two types of chosen people. I have a podcast episode on this called The Chosen People. Which ones? You have those who are chosen to be the enslaved and those who are chosen to be the enslaver. Literally, read the fucking book. Read the fucking book. Black people have accepted that we're the slaves. And we will always be the slaves. We will be the ones who deserve the punishment. The Jewish people, the white people, they have accepted, you know what? We're the conquerors. The Bible speaks on putting to the sword all men, women, children, and cattle. How many black people will put to the sword all men, women, children, and cattle to take their shit? None. You know why? Because that's not their entitlement. Their entitlement is to continue to have the malicious treatment done to them because you guys were the slave. Ask the black people where they fit in the Bible. What verses are they gonna quote? They're gonna quote you first. Deuteronomy 28. This is how we know we the real Jews, because Deuteronomy 28. No, you can pick and choose which Jew you're gonna be. They did. Think about it. Even if they were the real Jews that they're claiming to be, why have they there's no documentation that they were shipped off into slavery. They were in boats and no shit like that, because they bypassed that part of the book. They look at the book that says, when you go to this land, you're going to put to the sword all men, women, children, and cattle, and take the virgins for yourself. Those are Israelites too. Those are the people that were chosen as well. Why are we not doing what we're supposed to be doing? You know why? Because we can't, because we don't fit, because we don't speak the language to do so. Because we don't speak the language to do so. Why? Because our culture is not in that book, unless we define ourselves as the slaves in that book. Because when I start telling people about, okay, the book of Revelation, the 7 seals breaking and your chakras open up and you reaching a spiritual awakening, niggas don't want to go to that language of that side. They don't want to speak that language because it's demonic. The final battle. Let's talk to real Jewish rabbis, and ask them about Moses. They'll tell you Moses didn't exist. Moses wasn't a real being. If Moses wasn't real, and this is why I be joking. I don't be joking, but I be serious when I tell people, yo, Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, but he was born in Exodus. Pay attention. He was born in Exodus and died in Deuteronomy. Pay attention. They said Moses didn't exist. If Moses didn't exist, he wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. That means everything that follows the Bible can't exist either. It didn't happen. Wasn't real. But when you don't speak the language of what the actual book is, because I said the book is called the Holy Bible, Helios Biblios, the book of the sun. Not the sun as in child. The sun is in the actual fucking sun in the sky. It's even a verse in Psalms that calls God the sun. Where'd they get that shit from? Ra and them. Coincidentally, a lot of times it's Ray and them. And I was Ray twice, but then I dropped once. And I'm just Ray, another form of Ra. Never mind. With my mask off. But anywho, that's the logistics side. So now, the language side, that's a language intelligence. So when we have that language intelligence tied into ourselves, right? Here's where they get us fucked up the most. They make us speak the language over the music intelligence. Music intelligence is far more than just writing songs. Music intelligence is far more than just making beats or whatever the case may be. The music intelligence is what is what they have control to manipulate. Certain frequencies, certain sound patterns, certain sound palettes, certain drum sets, all of this shit is very, very important because they know how it stirs the soul up. A lot of us were heavily entwined music. They were musically like, if you ever beat on your desk to grinding, or if you randomly just bob your head for no reason, you're musically inclined. You have a music intelligence. All black people have it. All humans have it, but black people were musically intelligent for a different. We have all intelligence is fully operable, but we're confined to the logistics. So when we operate from our musical perspective, the thing about it is like the musical intelligence is not necessarily about just music. That is the intelligence that is and quick side note, all of what I'm saying, I've broken down in full detail in the Soul Frail series, specifically in Soul Frail 3. Soul Frail 3, I break down all the intelligences because I feel like as black men, there's a lot we got to know about ourselves now. There's a lot we have to know about the world. There's a lot we have to know about life. Real life. You feel me? Not the life they wanted us, they corrupted us to live. You feel what I'm saying? So in the full gamut of it all, right? The music side, it's like the music is basically it operates from the law of vibration. These are 1 or 12 laws of the universe, the law of vibration and the law of rhythm. Our music, the intelligence of music is the ability to understand sound. It helps with you understanding sound. So imagine the language intelligence and the music intelligence kind of go hand in hand. That's what the music industry is about. Entertainment is a real thing. Entertainment, to go in and hold the mind. They put visuals with music to control the mind. You may not be tapping into your musical intelligence, but your musical intelligence is tapped in for you. They literally had a meeting and said, this is what we're going to do with gangster music. We're going to capitalize on it. We're going to force them to listen to this every single day. These will be their mantras. These will be their affirmations every single day. This is why people say, you know, this is one of the reasons why I know that whatever God we think we serving, we ain't serving. It ain't real. It ain't for us. It's for our detriment, because gospel music wouldn't be a thing. Take example. I know. I just kind of shitted on a lot of motherfuckers with that shit. Gospel music has a potential to be equally played, just as trap music is, just as R&B is, right? Most people start off R&B, then they can transition into gospel music because it's. Oh, think about this. With the Jewish people or the Zionists or whoever, do you think they would really allow gospel music to run if it went against their purpose? Sit with that. Fucking sit with that. So when we listen to the gospel music, what does it reaffirm? That you are the chosen people who were made to be enslaved. Every part of the gospel music has, in some way, shape, or form, given you hope, or it's controlled your personal identity with pain, with pride or shame. Motherfuckers pride themselves on being helpless, defenseless people. You feel me? Not being able to give yourself credit for the things that you do in life. Making everything that you do, most religious people are fucked up individuals anyway. So it's like when you listen to the gospel, it's like it creates a level of arrogance within yourself that makes you holier than thou, or it makes you feel a certain way that you really don't feel. But it controls how you feel because it dictates your music intelligence. The intelligence of music, if you use that intelligence wisely, you can literally transform your life. When I tell people that I manifest the shit that I say as fast as I do because I make a song with it, I get a beat that's one of my favorite songs at the time or just whenever, and I'm feeling that beat and I want to put some solid affirmations onto the shit, I make a jam session. My jam sessions are for the musical intelligence. Again, tying it back to the beginning of this episode where I told you, I'm not trying to toot my own horn and say when I have all 7 open. You've seen me do it. You've seen all 7 of these motherfuckers in play. Except my kinesthetic. You haven't seen my kinesthetic. Like, I've been dormant with that because I don't like vanity. I don't like vanity. I don't want people lusting over me. Because that's what happens. I've been in that space before. Oh, your body is so this, that, and third. I don't want people to lust over me. I hate it. But anywho, I've been showing you all of these intelligences. So the music intelligence, like I said, I use that intelligence to with the language to say certain shit. And I got a jam session where I started off, what I saw in the mind, I see in the mirror. Those retinal blurs are now getting clearer. Right? You have to understand everything that I'm saying. Another point, I have another line, and this goes into the layers. Like, whenever I say some shit, people are like, oh, that was an entendre, that was this, that, and the third, depending on how well you understand it. But the entendre is based off of the level of the language that I understand in order for me to be able to say it multiple ways. You see what I'm saying? I have to have a certain understanding of the language in order to communicate a certain way to which an entendre is even present. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I have a line in the jam session where I was like, missionaries fucked us once, it'll never work again. Missionary is a position in sex, right? You know what I'm saying? And you fuck once. Missionaries fucked us once, it'll never work again, right? The missionaries that brought the religion to us, that damaged us and tarnished us, when they came over, they were called missionaries, but they are the inception of missionary steps as they were raping the women, holding them down, being on top of them, raping them. Missionaries fucked us once. It'll never work again. You feel me? It's a double entendre right there. You see what I'm saying? But it's a very functional entendre because it's I understand a certain language of how this religion came into our reality. So I'm saying that because when we look at the music intelligence, look at the music that they allow. The music that they allow can't be good for us because it's keeping us somewhere. Just because it's just logic. Now, this is crazy how it comes full circle because I'm going to talk about how well the logical intelligence is still ingrained in us. Because with the logical intelligence, we can literally see how it is so interwoven within us. So, Pete, we have R&B music. What is R&B music mainly about? Sex. R&B music about making love. But it's fucking. Fucking making love because with love comes correction, right? This music ain't saying shit about how you gonna make this person better or how this person is gonna be like. We have a few that slip in and out every now and again. You might get those songs that have a little positivity in it, but think about a person's catalog. For the most part, it's about lust, sex, and lust in some way, shape, or form. That's the R&B music. The rap music is about fucking. It's about fucking, killing, drug dealing, and shit like that, right? That's allowed, right? That's not banned. You feel what I'm saying? Anything that is designed to destroy black people is what is allowed in the airways. So if two of those three genres are okay, how? Because even rock and roll, at a point in time, rock and roll was bad before white people co-opted it, and they made it heavy metal. They made it the crazy shit, but rock and roll was fucking music. I'm a rock and roll in a sack with you. Like, that's what it was. That's why they hated Elvis, because he was gyrating. But they loved it because it's like, oh, you're doing what the black people do. Oh, shit, we're going to allow this. Gospel music you think is okay? Imagine this affirmation: I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold. When we know silver and gold is about generational wealth, and we wonder why we're still in poverty. You feel me? When you have a song that's, do you want a revolution? But are you going to exhibit one? I mean, we want one, but woot woot. You feel me? Stomp was a banger. I ain't even gonna hold you. No, that was Do you want a revolution? Sick and tired of my brothers killing each other. Sick and tired of daddies leaving babies with their mother. To every man that want to lay around and stay around. Yeah, that was a revolution. Sick and tired of the churches talking religion, but yeah, we talk about each other, make a decision. That was a bar. Like, those was heavy, bro. Those were some heavy lines and shit. But at the end of the day, what it was about was we have to still keep you in the religion. You could talk that shit, but don't come out of it. You feel me? It's about subservience. And this is what gets me, because it's like when I started to observe the music intelligence and I started to understand what they allow to play on the music industry and the music side, it made me wonder if this music was like, are we really serving God? Do we really understand what God is? If in fact we are allowed to sing the music that doesn't change our oppression, it doesn't change our circumstance. Because any kind of music that changes your circumstance, it gets muted. They may let it play on the airways every now and again, but then they're going to erase it. They're going to erase it. And if they let it play forever, if they let it play too long, you got to make sure you got to start to wonder, is it really good? Is it? Is it? Is it really fucking good? Because how can it be good if they don't stop it? Because they shut down everything that is designed to make us better. It's weird, because at the end of the day, it comes back to the logistics side. Because everything that I just said, of all that I just said, is going to be completely undermined because a motherfucker's going to come with the logistical intelligence. That don't make no sense. You reaching. You motherfuckers always want to sound smart. It's not about sounding smart. I can't appeal to logistics because I understand the different intelligences. You want me to only stay in the box of the logistic intelligence. That's why I'm able to maneuver the way that I do. Nobody can tell me what sounds smart. People be feeling stupid because I know all of the intelligence and I'm able to break shit down through any intelligent intelligent lens that I'm able to use when they come with me saying, oh, here come the logic and shit. Yeah, because you can't see the spatial side of what I'm talking about. This is why stealing from a motherfucker is so powerful. And I'm saying that because a motherfucker just stole one of my tweets and my tweet went viral. It was a whole thread. Then the motherfucker literally stole my shit. Word for word, bar for bar. Stole my whole motherfucking flow. He stole my shit. And then like everybody that was checking, hey, yo, bro, you stole that shit. He was blocking them. Blocking them and deleting their comments. But this ties into the logistics side of it. You trusted what I told you was such a powerful sentiment that you couldn't create because you understood only the logistics side of it, the logistic intelligence side of it. It's like, oh, this is something that everybody will bite to, but you don't understand the language in which spoke it. So everybody that was commenting on the shit from my side, they were like, people don't even know what a trauma bond is. If you read the entire thread, you will understand that it was a contextual expression. That's why I use trauma bond and I use euphoric bond as opposing side to one another. I was coming from a whole different perspective. I was coming from a language intelligence. Because as a language, we try to use the logistics side to invalidate what we don't understand. I'm gonna say that again. We use the logistic intelligence to invalidate what we don't understand. So when it doesn't fit when it's far outside of the scope of what we're talking about, we have to put it into logistics side and say, you know what? Psychology says this. Because this is what everybody was like, well, I used to believe that same thing until I started studying psychology. I used to do this until like, okay, cool. You have to make this logistical because what I said went completely out of it went completely beyond your comprehension, which is fine. But it's because of the logistic understanding. So all of that was to say, because I didn't even talk about learning disabilities once, and this is what the whole episode was supposed to be about. All of that was to say, when it comes to the learning disability, you don't really have a learning disability. When you really look at it, most humans don't have a learning disability. What they have is a challenge to the intelligence that they're defaulted with. And they're not defaulted with the logistical intelligence that the world is trying to be run by. And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing. All right. We're going to go ahead and end it there. I'm going to go ahead and end that motherfucker there. I feel like I covered everything I needed to cover. This episode came through how it's supposed to come through. I know that last episode, my last So Frail conversation, I ain't going to hold you. I know that was trash. Like, I don't know where I was. I just couldn't feel that episode for some reason. I mean, I felt it in spurts, but then it just like came and went. I don't know. So, I had those. They dub out, whatever. But this one I feel like is the redeemed team. But anywho, those are the 7 intelligences, right? Like I said, there's 9. There's 2 more now. I think one of them is like an esoteric intelligence, and there's another one. I don't remember those. But at the time of writing So Frail 3, there were 7, and that's what I broke down. And that's what I'm more familiar with. I probably learn the other 2 and do something different with them. But as of now, yeah, a lot of us didn't have learning disabilities. A lot of us weren't slow. A lot of us were moving from an intelligence that we didn't understand. And we were being boxed into an intelligence that they wanted us to have, which is the logistic side. You feel me? I was just chopping it up with one of my travelers. And like she said something to me that it wasn't logical. Like in the expression, it wasn't logical. And she was like, I couldn't really, I was like, yo, it's wild how I know exactly what the fuck you saying. And I was saying it from a perspective of I'd seen it, differently. I understood the language that your intelligence was speaking out of. Didn't have to be logical because I got the shit. And she was like, yeah, I couldn't articulate. I was like, you didn't have to articulate. What's understood don't got to be explained because I understand the language. You feel what I'm saying? That happens a lot to me. A lot of people, not that part. I'm switching and transitioning. What I said, it hit my head. It never came out my mouth. Sorry. But that happens because when the people see that the way that I articulate things, they're not they they're like, yo, you're able to like I like the way you articulate shit because they're expressing it like I don't have the words to say because you're trying to base it off logic, the logistic side. I just so happen to have an expansive vocabulary, but I understand the language I got to speak with certain things. So I know which word, like I internalize a lot of words and I learn a lot of words so I can speak the right language, speak the language and use the language intelligence accordingly because I got to make you feel, I got to make you think, I got to dive it down so deep into you that it hits the language intelligence. And in the way I use the language intelligence is I have to make you think, I have to make you feel, I have to move the thought with through feeling and thought. Let me slow down. I have to, the thought has to make you think and it has to make you feel. In addition to that, it has to reach the subconscious, conscious, and unconscious mind. In addition to that, it has to go through belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Every thought that I give you, I make sure that it goes through all of those points at one time. The reason why I do that is because no matter what level of thought you are, you'll get it. You'll get what you're supposed to get. This is a practice that I developed as a rapper. When I was shout out to Cassidy and Lloyd Banks. They were my biggest influences growing up. You feel me? They were my biggest influences growing up. Um, if you listen to like I'm an amalgamation of Cassidy, Lloyd Banks, Andre 3000, and Bone Thugs and Harmony. If you've ever heard me rap, if you ever heard my jam sessions, that's what you'll hear. Because I always love Busy Bone flow. And Busy Bone, Crazy and Lazy. Well, all of them really. Wish his flow wasn't as what I like. I didn't like his flow. He rapped fast, but it was more like he rapped fast like Twister. But Crazy, Lazy, and Busy, they went in the pockets that just like, get a bag of dope in the corner road. Like it's like, yo, they went into different pockets that was like they used the right word. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like ease and suck a Charlie and a zoom down body, and I'm gonna miss everybody. Like they knew how to put the right words to the thing. So when you hear my syncopations when I go up to them, it's like I use that pocket into it too. Andre 3000 he has that too, like where he picks the right word, but it's more he has the intellectual unorthodox part. You know what I'm saying? Then Cassidy and Banks, they came with the motherfucking punchline, like what was it? Cassidy said, I could sell raid to a bug. I'm a hustler. I could sell salt to a slug. Nigga, you gonna sell the poison to the motherfucker? You's a bad motherfucker. You feel me? Lloyd Banks was as the PLK kid, he used to call himself the punchline kid. What was one of his coldest punchlines? I'm not the richest, but I'm richer than y'all. Banks is like the young Wilt Chamberlain. All I do is fuck bitches and ball. Like, oh my God. Because Wilt Chamberlain had sex with over 10,000 women. Then he went and go drop 100 points. It's like, nigga, you feel me? So I get it. So all of that was to say about the language. Like I practiced delivering the language. You feel me? I practiced that intelligence of language. Logistics, I mastered that a long time ago. That's what the school system was about. When I got my college degree and I graduated with honors and shit, when I graduated with honors from high school, when I graduated with honors from middle school, I mastered the logistic language because I had nothing but practice with that shit. But then I stepped away and learned it in the other languages and intangible things. You feel what I'm saying? My podcast is more so tied to the language. So when people, that's why I call it profane profanity. I'm not speaking to anybody who doesn't understand this language. Everybody that I know who's listened to the podcast, who has, try to put people on is like, those people say the same thing. It's good information, but he cussed too much because this ain't your language. Because from the logistics side, you were taught to behave a certain way and move a certain way. The logistics side of the education means that you cannot get information out of this. I remember when I was in high school, a teacher said using profanity is a mark of intelligence. You feel me? She said it shows how low level your intelligence is if you have to use profanity because I'm like, I can use big words and I can cuss. And it don't take away shit because I understand the language. I have a language intelligence too. So I'm fluid with the shit. So the people that can't get it, they have no capacity of what the language intelligence is. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I don't care. You feel me? The kinesthetic intelligence, like when I say I know anatomy and physiology so well that I know how to move my body in any way to make it bulk up the way I needed to bulk up. I don't have to use protein shakes. I don't have to use none of that shit. Give me 30 days. Give me 30 days and I can gain 10 pounds of muscle. Because I know how to push my body and I know what muscles to use and, you know what I'm saying, how to trigger things, mobility, dexterity, all of this shit. I just ain't been working out. The reason why I ain't been working out, largely because I went from the inside out. This is one of the things that I tell people all the time. I built myself from the outside in. It was horrible. Because then when I got heartbroken and all this other shit, it was like, I didn't know how to deal with that. Now I built myself from the inside out. I went from the spirit first, then the mind, then the financial situation. Now I can focus on my body. You know what I mean? Learning day trading and investing, all these things where, okay, I needed to be in this position where I can take care of all of myself fully. You feel me? So I had to write books. I had to create different sources of income, different things like that. Like that was a whole different perspective. But that was because I understand the kinesthetic intelligence. Like I understand how the muscles move and like one of the shocking things about the kinesthetic intelligence that I've learned is like my sister, she put me onto it, but a lot of people, they be like, yo, you don't use weights? I don't need weights. I use my body. They're like, what? You don't, no. Why? You got to think about it. Logically, if your body is antagonistic to itself, a lot of people don't get it. You have flexors and you have extensors. Pretty much that's what the anatomy of the body is broken down to. That which flexes and that which extends. The flexing opposes the extension opposes the flexing. My biceps should be equally as strong as my triceps. My quadriceps should be equally as strong as my hamstrings. My tibial muscles should be as strong as my calf muscles. Flexion and extension. My anterior deltoid should be as strong as my posterior deltoids. Feel me? My lateral deltoid should be like my abs should be as strong as my back. Because it is antithetical to each other. By that antagonism, yes, it's going to take a little bit longer, but when I intentionally make sure that when I'm working my bicep, when I'm contracting my bicep, I'm tightening my tricep. I'm making my tricep oppose my bicep, and vice versa. That's my weight. That's the resistance I'm going to need. Yeah, I can speed it up by adding resistance to it, but I don't need it. You feel me? But that's kinesthetic intelligence. You feel what I'm saying? Music, I just broke that down towards the end of this shit. Like, I'm musically inclined because I can hear it. But the thing about the musical intelligence is not just playing an instrument. And it's not just reading the music. They teach you to read the music or whatever the case may be, but it's understanding the sound that is being made. Different octaves, pitches, and you know what I'm saying? I understand these things. Fuck the words. Yeah, the words are cool. And I can fuck with the words, but I don't need to talk about arpeggios and syncopations. I know what they are. But again, it's the intelligence is what you have to break down to. You know, interpersonal. I'm able to work well with motherfuckers. And as a natural born leader, I'm able to bring out the best of any motherfucker individually. Anybody who's ever done a one-on-one session with me, I've got you to the point. I just gave you the whole tree of life. I broke down everything for you. And it's like, yeah, now here's you. Let's figure out where you are in this shit. Don't copy me. Because you will never be me. You can't be me. It's like I can never be you. But that's the goal. It's not to be you. It's to bring out who you really are. Which is going to take some time. You feel what I'm saying? Spatial intelligence. I see shit the niggas can't see, bro. So much so that I can see shit ahead of time. That's what makes me prophetic. Oracles, prophets, they are tapped into the spatial intelligence. Motherfuckers don't want to talk about that part. You seen how you, like, motherfucker, when I tell somebody some shit's going to happen, didn't it happen? I told motherfuckers, look, y'all get that shot. That shit going to change you. You're not going to be human no more. Man, whatever, bro. You don't know science and shit. What just came out? What just motherfucking came out last month? The new diagnosis and the new name of the people, all of the people who have been vaccinated, they are now called homoborgenesis. You're not human anymore. You're not a Homo sapien. You're not a human anymore. Homoborgenesis. When you break down the words of that, Borg means robotic in a sense. Genesis means the beginning. You're the first. You're cyborgs, low key. The first cyborgs. Motherfuckers gonna start dropping. I hate to see it, but like a lot of motherfuckers who have gotten the shot, they're dying. And it sucks because it's like, damn, I know a lot of my family who has had it. And it's like when it comes, you can't sue. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do. They made sure of that. You feel what I'm saying? But again, that's spatial intelligence. You feel me? The ability to see beyond certain shit. When I talk about how this religion ties to this point, how this point ties to this scientific point, like all that is spatial, homie. I do this. Interpersonal, I spend time with myself enough. I do. I know how to meditate so well. I know how to meditate in a certain space where I can reach my Akashic records and break shit down. I know how to use all 70 intelligences. So the other two that they came out with, being the esoteric man, I already know how to do them. I just don't know the name of them. That's why I'm not speaking on them here. Um, but we're all wired to exhibit all seven. We just have a default. We use our default to thoroughly understand who we are. At this point, I don't know what my default is anymore. Like I said, because when I look at when I was 17 months old, when I got hit by a car and I didn't die, like all of my systems were open. They never been closed. So just it opened up for me and I just been moved. But if I had to say, I would say that maybe I'm more logistic. I don't know. I don't at this point I really could not tell you what intelligence I am. And I think that's how it's supposed to be. I think as people, we should reach a point with each individual intelligence that we learn to master the other so well that they don't let us do that shit. They say you're going to be logical and nothing at all. Look at a lot of the conversation that we have between men and women right now. Everybody says it's logic. They throw logic and facts and shit when it's not. It's an emotionally charged situation. You feel me? Men think before they feel. Women feel before they think. The conversation is already set for nothing when you are in a logical based situation because you're not feeling. You're trying to think logically. Statistics, like people love to throw statistics out, but it's like, is everybody included in the statistics, bro? I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, like motherfucker. Like statistical is just a statistic is just a quantified stereotype. It's a stereotype that got a number to it. That don't make it right. I'm gonna use this because it's dramatic and shit. They say the average penis size, because niggas now I got your attention. They say the average penis size is 6 inches, right? Who was included in that count? My dick ain't never been measured. It's wild because like when you look at the average penis size being 6 inches, right? The average motherfucker I know has not had their dick measured for a survey. So when did it happen? When you went to the doctor? Was it intrusive then? Because now it's like, was it hard or was it soft? Like then it's like, okay, so you were measuring my shit while you was fucking supposed to be checking me for coughing, and then you wrote it down. But then it's like, how are you? Like I wasn't even erect then. So who's included within it's like, so you see what I'm saying? So a statistic is a stereotype with a number on the shit. Don't necessarily justify itself. You feel me? You can be taking one of these emotion surveys, right? They'll be taking you, oh, what are your emotions like? That's just logical based because your emotions are changed. You could be feeling one way today and then take that same survey again tomorrow and be feeling a whole different type of way, and your complete outcome will change. How? Fucking how? Because they're trying to base everything off of the logic side. Logic is not the only intelligence that works in this world. So when a motherfucker want to thought, oh, the statistics say this, I don't fit in the statistics. I wasn't in the count. For the statistics to be universally applied, that means everybody had to be added to the survey, to the study. Everybody isn't. So then that now defines when you are able to do that. Now you have to dive. This is spatial thinking. Now you have to dive into the fact that one of two things are happening. In order for statistics to be worked without having everybody involved in it, means that you have to be creating the same type of person. Logistic intelligence. Phew, niggas don't even be having learning disabilities, yo. They're just not logistical intelligent learners. They're not based from the logistic side of intelligence. That's what got motherfuckers fucked up. That's how statistics work because like, oh, we creating the same motherfucker. You feel me? Oh, here's your demographic. You black? Okay, cool. How is this education system going to affect black people as they get older? So we only need 100 of y'all because we know what we're creating out of y'all. Asian people, Pacific Islanders. Now it's starting to fuck people up. It's like, do you prefer not to answer? Who is the prefer not to answer? Okay, now when we look at how it's affecting men, okay, now we're changing your whole gender. What the fuck are you? Non-binary. I don't want you to know. Bitch, we already know. We got your social security number. We know what the fuck you are. For real, for real. You can change whatever, but you already know the fuck you are. So they create these circumstances. That's how the statistics can work. Because it ain't no different than when I tell y'all, when they say by 50 years old, a man needs to be checked for prostate cancer. Why? Because we already set the system that by 50 years old, you'll have prostate cancer. Question is, do you have it or not? So now we can say the average man
is going to have prostate cancer because of the fucking diet that you're eating. Nigga. I told my homeboy this. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna wrap it up because I know it's long as hell. I told one of my young bulls this. I ain't gonna say my young bull because I ain't gonna try to son my dude like that because he my peer. He my peer. I told one of my homies and shit when we was selling cars, not selling cars, we was parking cars. We was in valet and shit. And this little motherfucker, man, look, yo, this motherfucker, he going it was like a meat meal party or some shit. And everybody kept dropping, bringing cars up and shit. And they called me because I was the manager. And they was like, yo, such and such need help. I was like, no, you don't. So I called him. I was like, yo, he said, no, I'm good. So I'm like, man, let me go down there. I come down there. It's cars everywhere, right? So it's like we're trying to write as many tickets as we can, but we can't because it's that many cars and just me and him. It was an overnight shift. Nobody was supposed to be coming for that fucking party and parking there. So they started dropping cars off. Boom, boom, boom. I said, I'm getting some of this money. So I smudged it. So when the hotel people seen, I was like, we're gonna get as many people to pay as we can to keep it on the books. But these are the only ones we're gonna put. He was like, how we gonna? I said, look, I know the numbers. I work the system. When you know the numbers and you know how numbers don't lie, but you can make them tell whatever story you want them to tell to validate the lie. And I'm saying that because me and him pocketed a good $500-$600 a piece, but we pocketed a good $506 a piece. Then now I ain't gonna say five, it was like $250 a piece, maybe. Now it was up there because these motherfuckers was dropping bread, but we pocketed that much a piece, and then the hotel still got their money for the parking because we did have people walk in, and we sent them in to pay. And I told them those people that went in to pay or whatever, there was a few people. I was like, look, he said, how we gonna do everybody? I said, what we're gonna say? We sent them in to pay. Or they came back out and said they paid, and we took the receipts. It was too many. I functioned all of this shit. It was a whole spatial thing. And I was like, look, when you know how to manipulate the numbers, you can make them tell the truth. I manipulated the numbers to make them tell the truth, keep us all safe. And we ate that night. But I ate because I was like, yo, because as a manager, I wasn't supposed to keep tips. But I was like, yo, fuck that, my nigga. If I'm a motherfucking, bro, you got me fucked up, bro. You better run up off these tips. If I had to get up out my bed at 12 o'clock to come down here and help you, I didn't have to help them. But at the same time, if I wouldn't have, if a car would have got damaged or some shit like that, all of that shit would have been off the books and it would have looked extra bad. So I just did that to show face with the hotel, to show that, you know what I mean? So we can keep the contract and all the shit. There was so many different logistics that I had to do. But the point that I'm making with that is that when you understand the numbers, because you're creating the way the numbers are supposed to play out, you control them. So when they tell you statistically speaking, this right here, that's only based off the logistic intelligence, but it's based off of the entire situation that we've created you to be the same. So the statistics will always work no matter how many of you we have. So statistically speaking, black women get divorced more than black because of this logistical side of what it is. Logistically speaking, if your mind is like this, when you get to the specific age, you two can't work together. You know why? Because now by this time, your mind has completely been whitewashed to where you don't even like black people no more. You don't even know it. So the divorce rate is going to be high. It's crazy, but it works every fucking time. So when you put the statistics in, everybody's able to follow the statistics, follow a part of the stats and be a part of the statistics because the society has already been normalized and created within the logistic intelligence. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And for our children, listen to their intelligence. They have an operable intelligence right from the jump. Some babies are just quiet. You thinking, my baby don't want to talk. My baby this, that, and third. Like, nah. My youngest nephew, one of the smartest little motherfuckers I know. I know he's an interpersonal. He has the interpersonal intelligence. And here's how I know. Whenever he want to see, whenever he'll observe something, get quiet. Then he'll put his, like, he do this shit like Braxton. No funny shit. He'll put his finger on his lip and be like, ah. And then you'll just see him take off and go do something. He'll just go spend a whole bunch of time with it. In his mind, he's simultaneously spatial and interpersonal. Because in his mind, he's already factored out something so wide. But then it finally came back as exactly what he wants to try and experience. And he goes, ah. And then he runs for it. You feel what I'm saying? Fucking amazing little kid. But you feel me? All of our babies, they have a default intelligence or two or seven. They have them all in play. Really, all of them are in play, but we kind of dilute them over time because we want them to be logistical. But you have to find out what their intelligence is first, master that, and then start to fuel it in the other areas. If they're kinesthetic, start using the kinesthetic to teach them how to be logistic, to teach them how to be spatial, to teach them how to be all these other things. You feel what I'm saying? If they are spatial, use that spatial to teach them all of these other intelligences. And then when they merge them in, now they're wired. Because all of our babies start off on all seven, then they go to kindergarten and shit, and then they level the fuck off because everybody learns logistically, right? We got to stop doing that to our babies. We have to. We have to prepare our babies for the future. We have to prepare our babies to use their full total mind. You feel what I'm saying? And not cap it off because we don't have the knowledge base of what it is that we're supposed to understand. We can't continue to make this an excuse anymore. I always say when people are like, your parenting doesn't come with a manual. It does. The manual is the child. Listen to them. The child tells you how they need to be raised. The fuck? They tell you what intelligence they have. They tell you how they use their natural energy when they come to this world. It's on you as a parent not to control how they use their energy, but to direct the energy that they're using in the way in which they're supposed to use it. You feel what I'm saying? And then take it from there. But I'm gonna go ahead and end there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm gonna see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.